Okay.
Hello, good evening, Maple.
Hi, good evening, Kela.
Hi, good evening, Kela.
Oh, okay. Hi, good evening. Good evening, and welcome to everyone who is joining us live and those who will be watching the replay. We just want to start this quickly and then I'll give the floor to Mr. Maple to speak to us. But if you're just joining us for the first time, if you are just getting to know about the brand money culture for the first time, let me just give a brief overview. Forgive me, you'll not be seeing my face this evening, but I'm Akilachi and I'm the digital comms lead for Money Culture. Now, Money Culture is a company, an organization that is committed to financial literacy. So personal financial literacy, let me specify that personal. So what it is that we teach you how to multiply money, invest, what wealth is all about, what the fundamentals of finance is all about. Sometimes some people come to us and like, oh, I know this and I know that, I've read this and I've read that. And when they go through our programs, there's that mindset reorientation. And it's always like a new knowledge has been found and all of that. But yes, that's what money culture is about basically. The foundations of our organization is education, financial education. And then we take it a step further for investment advisory and portfolio management. So what that means is that we have our clients, we have our members, our company members. These ones are the ones who we go about to help out investing, prop investing if and we also help some people. Some individuals are quite busy, they're not able to handle their investment portfolios themselves, so we do investment portfolio as well for our premium clients, portfolio management rather, for our premium clients. So that's what money culture is about. You get to find out more as in over time, but I just want to give the floor to our special guest and storyteller for today. So, what our webinar series about? This is the first episode in our webinar series. This web series is the financial journey webinar. This is the first episode. What it is about is we're getting members of our community, of the money community, to come and tell us what their journey has been like. Why did they get interested in financial literacy education? So what has it been like for them so far? What are their mistakes? What are their wins, their losses, everything? What inspired them to even start and all of that? So obviously there'll be one or two things you can pick from the story. And without further ado, let me just hand over to Mr. Maple Dappa, your co-traveler. Welcome, Maple. Thank you for joining us. Maple, you're muted.
Okay. Thank you, Kela. Thank you. I'm glad to be
Thank you,
here.
Kela. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Fantastic. So, in case for those of you who do not know Maple, Maple is a lot of things. He's a lot of things, but primarily he is the chief consultant in a fund brand. It's a brand consulting business. But let me leave him to talk about to go into his own portfolio. Please, Maple, just tell us a bit about yourself. I know there's a
Okay,
lot to
all right.
tell, but
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, my people, Dappa. I work with a brand consulting company called Mapemon Limited, and I lead that company as a chief consultant. We basically help businesses to fix a wide range of their business challenges from the perspective of helping them emerge as reputable brands. We believe strongly at Mapemon that Africa has what it takes to also produce amazing, lovely, fabulous brands that can also be referenced the way we reference foreign brands all the time. So we work behind the scenes with businesses and organizations to make that happen. Quite a lot of work, exciting, and also revealing. Okay, so I have written down quite a number of things I want to share with regards to my journey to wealth. Some persons were teasing me that so I am a wealthy man and
hello, Mr. Maple. Can you hear me? Okay, so just hang on. I think his network is a bit key, but I know he'll be back.
Kelly.
Kelly.
Hello, Kelly.
Okay, welcome back.
Hello, Kelly.
Welcome back. We can hear you now. We lost you for a bit.
Sorry, the network.
Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
the
Yes,
network.
yes, yes. There
Yeah,
was
yeah. Yes, yes, yes. There was
I think that Maple is still having network issues. If you can hear me, just let me know in the comment section. Please just drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Let me be sure that the network issue is just from Maple's end. Okay, thank you, David. Thank you. David says loud and clear. Okay, so I know that the issue is not from my end. So while we're waiting for Mr. Maple to return. If you're just joining us, maybe for those of you who joined us a bit late, thank you, Samson, says loud and clear. For those of us that joined a bit late, I spoke about what this webinar series is about. This is a new webinar series by Money Culture. The title is My Journey to Wealth. So we're getting some members of the Money Culture community to come and share with the public what it is, what their journey to wealth looks like, is looking like. Because just before Maple jumped off, he says that some people have been teasing him that, oh, so that means he's now a wealthy man. I'll say amen to that for him. Understand that wealth, there's a journey that we use to get there. And what Maple is here to tell us is how he started, what inspired him to start, what he has learned along the way, his losses, his wins, and where he is right now. Lessons that he has to share with us. Well, Maple is back, I guess. So, okay, welcome back, Maple. I was just holding the phone while you were away.
Thank you, Kela.
Thank you, Kela.
Okay, I pray this network lets us have a very beautiful conversation. So before network decided to hit you off,
Okay.
you were talking about people saying that, oh, you're now a wealthy man. So maybe just take it up from there.
Yes. Someone
Yes,
sent
someone sent
the
the
this webinar to the WhatsApp group
WhatsApp
and said
and said,
they didn't know that I was now a wealthy man. So we just laughed over it. They were teasing me. We just laughed over it. But then I pointed out to them what was even on the flyer. That the flyer says my journey to wealth. So it's a journey. But I actually consider myself wealthy anyway because that's one of the things that money culture has helped me to achieve. In all honesty, for me, it's a thing of the mind. It begins from the mind, and once you've been able to achieve that wealthy state of mind, then I think you've actually conquered the biggest obstacle, the greatest obstacle to the whole idea of wealth. But I like to use a story format, where I started from, and then I'll just share some of the lessons. I possibly can't share all of the lessons within less than an hour that we have, but I'll just share some of the lessons that I've picked. The lessons will be in no particular order. But my journey began with from a place of curiosity. I stumbled upon some documents in a safe, what they call them again now. Um, the safe boxes. I can't remember the name now. A safe, yeah, a safe. So I stumbled upon some documents in the safe, and these documents they kept saying things about the documents being of so much value and all that. And when I cited the document, they were just pieces of paper to me at the time. I was in secondary school as at that time. Okay, so I was in secondary school as at that time, and I did not understand what was going on. But I just knew there was something about this thing. Everybody at home, my uncles, my aunts, seemed to have this high regard for these documents and all. Well, to cut long story short, it turned out to be that these documents were actually what is called share certificates. Again, as at that time, I had no clue whatever. You can call me an Olodo, and you will be right. I had no idea what these things meant at all. I just knew that this thing must be so important, the way everybody gets it so um, closely, and so it turned out over time that they were owned by my late grandfather, who passed on before I was born. and interestingly, remains the richest man in our family till today. And this my late grandfather worked as a security guard in a bank. So for me, as while as growing, it got me curious. I mean, security guard, we all know the kind of mindset we have towards security guards. They are more or less poor people who are just trying to get by and all that. So how exactly did a security guard get to the point of owning these important documents? Of course, over time, I had come to have a fair understanding of what they were. He owned shares in Nigerian breweries. And I was looking all around me. I saw their products of Nigerian breweries all over the market and all. I'm like, okay, my grandfather, is a shareholder in this company. And he did this while he was a security guard. How? So it got me curious. And I started seeking answers. That was where, for me, my journey started from. Along the line, while I was in university, one of my lecturers took time one day during lectures. He paused and then he spoke about how he had bought shares while he was still a young man and what it had amounted to over the years and all that. So that reinforced the curiosity I had on my mind all of those years. Yeah. So I started out on a quest to understand this thing called shares and the stock market. And of course, at some point, I also bought some myself. I remember I bought Union Bank shares when they had their initial public offer. I bought shares of Dark Communications. I bought shares of Access Bank. And I think about one or two others that I can't recall at this time. But I bought all of these shares. I remember I also bought a book during my NYC, and a book about shares. It talked about the bears, the bulls, the stock market, and all of those things. So I got familiar with a lot of the jargons and all that. But for me, I was trying to still figure out certain things, and something was missing. Something was missing. But I did not know what it was because, of course, I was coming from a place of ignorance. I was coming from a place of not knowing what all of these things were about. So, how exactly would I know what is missing? I can't tell. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew something was missing. And I kept asking questions and all that. And then eventually, I can't remember exactly. I think I was looking for someone who was going to help write about money and investing and all that in a magazine I was producing sometime in 2010 or so. And then someone had recommended the founder of Money Culture to me. And so that's how I got to meet the founder of Money Culture. But we moved on from discussing the magazine column to me as asking him. We went to an eatery, we sat down at eatery, and I remember that, I threw lots of questions. Thinking about it now, it makes me even laugh because I'm sure a lot of those questions were actually even questions that he must have been wondering, while I was asking such, would I say, dumb questions. But then he was very patient and he answered these questions. And I started connecting the dots. And at some point, I thought I had gotten it. It felt like, I think I've gotten this thing. But as time passes, the more we got to communicate, it turns out that, well, I got just a small part. There is still a whole lot more I needed to understand. So I had not really gotten it in the full sense of the word to get it. So I just kept picking and all of that. And then at some point, Money Culture developed a course which I participated in. In fact, it was so fascinating that I remember there was a hotel behind Hotel Presidential in Port Harcourt here, and that hotel was called Stardust Suite. I understand it's been sold. I remember having to even call friends, as many that care to be there. At that time, I was even doing it for free, at my own expense. I negotiated what I could with the hotel and all that to get a venue, get a projector, or I think Money Culture actually came with a projector and all that. I was just calling out to as many persons that would even hear my voice and come and listen to this thing that I had heard. Of course, the crowd did not pour in as much as I shouted. Over time, I got to understand why. And of course, it's one of the burden that money culture has also had to carry. How do you communicate this thing? Because it's not an exciting thing, by the way. It's not one of those things people come out to announce how we can make money, pack a lot of money, and all that. It's a different ball game. In fact, actually, the opposite of all of that. So I could understand why people did not respond, the way I would have wanted. Okay, so but bottom line is I started getting answers to these my questions, and all that. And one of the things that bothered me then was before I met the founder of Money Culture, before I came in contact with Money Culture, I had also, based on the previous knowledge I had gathered from reading books and all that, I had tried to get a stockbroker so I could also start buying shares. Of course, I didn't even have money then. And then the stockbrokers shared their conditions, and it was way above my league, way above my league. So it was more or less like a game for the big boys. And of course, I wasn't a big boy. I couldn't afford a stockbroker. But somehow I also found an answer, in money culture. And I think I'll just throw that out as well. And the answer I found was the fact that, money culture helped to bring people together. And then as one body at the time, money culture would go negotiate with a stockbroker to say, okay, these people as individuals may not, have the kind of funds you're looking for, but collectively they surpass it. So let's have a block, create a package for us. Let's come in as a block, and all of that. And, that was achieved and we started. And money culture offloaded the shares that I bought because I bought them out of ignorance. I did not understand how these things work. So that's why when these days people tell me about how horrible shares is and all of that, I just smile because I was once there as well too, and the whole idea is not even shares. So once people begin to preempt and think that it's just about shares and all that, they miss the point. But bottom line is that I also found an answer to the issue of being able to afford a stockbroker. The next thing has to do with, okay, so how do you now invest? You cannot invest, without money. So I realized that I also lacked the money to invest. But even at that, it was beyond just having the money because you can have money and you're still not investing. That's why I said that the whole wealth thing actually begins from the mind. Once you win the battle in your mind, then you've actually won the battle because it all begins to now materialize over time. So that's pretty much my story of how I got started, curiosity and all that, and then I met money culture. And the money culture gradually, over time, altered my perspective. I learned a whole lot, picked a lot of lessons, and it got me interested in anything that has to do with investment. And I had I don't know if I'll call it critical eyes. So when I see anything in investment, I'm able to analyze it. I'm able to look at it from a new and fresh perspective. Having fallen victim once in 2003 to a Ponzi scheme, as well to as part of my experiences. So the first lesson, like I said, I'm going to share different lessons that I've picked so far from taking the money culture course, from being a part of the money culture community. And I keep learning because members of the community in our forum also share insights and all of that. Conversations come up, we ask difficult questions that pertain to understanding economics, understanding the economy, and all that. Quite revealing. So one lesson that I'd learned is that, of course, as a person, you'd have to discover your potential. And when you discover this potential, you'd have to offer value with this potential. This value you offer with the potential you've discovered enables you to earn money, either through salary or through business. This salary that you earn, while you're trying to take care of your everyday living expenses, you also have to be able to set aside a portion of it. You can call it saving for the purpose of this conversation, but not in the real sense of saving as we've come to know it. But I like to call it just gathering funds. So you set aside portions of your inflow from business or from work. And remember, I've mentioned already that for you to have this inflow, there must be value you're offering to the market if you're in business, or value you're offering to your employers if you're a worker. And this boils down to what? There's potential that you've discovered, a skill that you've discovered, or that you've trained yourself on, which you offer, and all of that. So you gather this money, and then you learn to preserve the money. You learn to preserve the money. And that's why I said not saving in traditional sense. Because if you just save money, let's say you save 1 million naira last year, and that 1 million naira that you saved last year can buy you a plot of land. The question will be, after 1 year, can that same 1 million naira buy you the same plot of land? The answer is no, because the land would have appreciated due to inflation. So it simply means that while you saved 1 million naira, your 1 million naira was intact. The 1 million naira actually lost value because it could no longer get you the same things it could have gotten for you just a year ago. And the longer you keep that 1 million naira, the more value it loses over time. So that means that saving the traditional way is not good enough. So what do you now do? I like to put it as, you now need to begin to now think in terms of preserving your money. So where do you keep this money so that the money can still buy you the same things it could buy for you 1 year ago? And that's where investments now come in. But the idea of investment is not even about things that will radically, rapidly grow your money. Anytime you hear that, slow down and take a close look, because you are most likely about to lose money. Those are the lessons that I've learned from money culture and even from personal personal experiences. So you preserve money. In other words, anywhere you can put that money so that it can still at least retain the value of the money. That's the first target. That's what you're looking at first. Because I've also come to realize that no matter how smart or intelligent that we are, we can't cheat this process of growth, this process of learning these things and understanding it gradually, one step after the other. You can't move from step 1 to step 10. You go through all of this. So the first step is first learn how to gather money. Next step is be able to now learn how to preserve the money to retain the value before you can now start advancing to growing the money, knowing the kind of investments where you can put in the money and then the money can actually grow. You begin to measure percentages in terms of the growth of your money and all of that. All right. So the next lesson I'm going to share will be that the way you make money is different from how you accumulate money. This has been the most confusing, one of the most difficult things to understand about my journey to wealth so far. Because we've been wired right from our educational system. We've been wired, to go all out to get a good paying job, and all of that. So we've been wired to make money. So we think about everything when we hear investment, wealth, all we're still thinking is making more money, making more money. But the way you make money is totally different from the way that you accumulate wealth. I also got to learn that you don't even make wealth, you accumulate wealth. So, how does this work? I'm wearing a t-shirt. I did not make this t-shirt. So I handed my money over to those who manufacture the t-shirt so I could wear this t-shirt. It is my t-shirt. And so that money I gave to them is the money, is payment for them to make the t-shirt for me to wear. I have all of these bracelets on my hands. I did not make them. I paid the company that makes them to make for me. Yes, I didn't pay the company directly, but the distributors, the retailers, the sellers, and all that are ultimately all working for the manufacturer. So ultimately, the manufacturer that I pay, those who help to sell and all that, remove their profit along the way. Down to the phone that I use, I paid the company to make that phone for me to use. I paid the company to make this laptop that I'm using for this webinar right now. Think about it. Almost everything that we use, from the soap that we use to bathe, the cream that we use, our clothing, our furniture, our cars, phones, we pay the guys who make these things to make them for us, to make them available for us. And it's the same thing with wealth. We have to learn to pay those whose business it is to create wealth. And then they also make it available for us. There are those that, that is what they do. They've built the systems, and this system that they've built keep turning, just it keeps running like a mill, and all they are doing there is, wealth, wealth, wealth. No matter how much effort I put in, as an individual, there are companies out there, Coca-Cola, Nestle, and the rest of them, that would always make way more money than I can ever make with my effort. So why don't I give them my money so that I can get a portion of this wealth that they are generating? And so I give to as many of these companies, as possible. But see, the whole idea of making money have us bound. So if we are not making it ourselves, if we are not immersed in the process, if we are not involved in the process, we're uneasy. We feel like something is missing. But the whole idea of accumulating wealth goes contrary to how we make money. Making money requires work, effort. But the whole idea of wealth requires rest, be patient, observe, calm down. It's so difficult to do, but over time, it becomes more like a habit or like a lifestyle, the way money culture puts it. Money culture calls it a lifestyle. I call it a habit, pretty much the same thing. So investing, the way I've written it down here on my notes is investing is paying others to gather wealth for you. The same way you pay others to make the clothes that you wear, the phone that you use, the car that you drive, the products that you use generally, you also pay others to gather the wealth for you. It is not your work or business that brings wealth. Again, it is not the work that you do or your business that brings you wealth. Your work or business brings you money. It is what you do with this money that your work or business brings to you, or if you even do a combination of both, then we can say that your work and business brings to you. What you do with that money is what makes you wealthy ultimately. I take that again. It is not your business or work that makes you wealthy. That only makes you money, or it makes you rich, if you like. However, it is what you do. Hello, Keller, please confirm if you can hear me. It looks like my video got frozen for a while.
Like my video got frozen for a while.
Yes, I can hear you. You were frozen for a bit, but yeah, I can hear you. You're back.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So I was saying that it is not your work.
All right. So I'll say that it is not your work or your business
Okay, you may have to help me
Okay, you may have to
mute
help
your
me
phone echo.
mute your phone.
Thank you. All right, so it is not your work or your business that makes you wealthy. That makes you money. What makes you wealthy is what you do with that money, is what you do with the riches. Next thing that I've picked so far is that okay, just to share, a bit of what I've been doing so far. It's not something I'm ready to share yet because I have a lot of grounds to cover with regards to um, the process. But I think that a good foundation has been laid because currently I have stakes. I co-own. That's one of the things monoculture helps us to understand. There are those who just deal in shares, they trade shares and all that. And that is not the idea at all. That's why monoculture doesn't even like to mention the word shares in the first place. But I just have to so that it helps me to make better sense of what I want to say. So I co-own about 12 to 14 of the best performing companies in Nigeria. And that's because monoculture has helped me achieve that. So I've laid that foundation. And the work that I have to do, even though that's the next point I have to make, the work that I have to do right now is for me to now increase the size of the stake I own in each of these companies. So as I work or do business and gather money, I put it into increasing um, my stake in each of these companies that I co-own. I'm one of the owners of these companies. And one of the very important things that I've gotten to learn is that my grandfather bought these shares in Nigerian breweries, of which I'm also now one of the co-owners of Nigerian breweries. My grandfather bought these shares and left it for so many years before I was born, and it has been that way all the way till now. But I've come to understand something that it is not enough to buy it and leave it. I have to keep buying more. I have to keep increasing. I have to keep putting in more money. It's more like feeding, like a lion. So I have the cub. So I have to keep feeding it so that it can become that full grown, vicious, fierce, lion that I want it to be. So it's not enough to just, own a stake and leave it there. You have to keep feeding it. How do you feed it? You have to keep throwing in money. So it's like a habit. It's like a lifestyle, and that takes me to my next point. And that point is the fact that in money culture, I got to learn something called controlled gratification. What I had always known is called delayed gratification. But under money culture, I learned what is called controlled gratification, which means that yes, sometimes you want to give yourself a treat, you want to take care of you want to indulge sometimes, you want to take care of critical needs and all of that, and some essentials as case may be. But one thing I've come to realize is that I've come to terms with the size of my income. And knowing that I have this goal that I want to achieve with regards to my investment and my journey to wealth. So it has forced me to fold my legs to the length of my blanket, because you can't seek to spend money on just anything you want because you believe that the money will keep coming, and then at the same time you want to transit from just making money to actually accumulating wealth. So for me, I've learned to adjust my lifestyle based on the rate of my inflow and based on the size of my income. That way, I can actually be setting aside the commitment that I have made to keep growing my investment. The waiting game, another tough part. For some months now, I think maybe for like about 3, 4 months now. I've had money because it's a transparent system. So you're able to monitor your investments and how they are performing and all that. So I keep going to check and I see that I have money in my wallet, you know, sizable amount of money in the wallet and it's not being used, it's just there, it stays months. But because I've come to learn that there's something called right timing. Apart from the right stock to buy, which is just an example that I'm using to make the whole conversation relatable. So apart from knowing the right stock or the right shares to buy, you know, you also need to know the right price and the right timing. That's why it's not a very good idea to buy initial public offers because initial public offers are typically not or usually not in your own best interest, usually in the best interest of the company. They have an objective they want to meet. So that money in my wallet is being kept waiting for the right stock at the right price and at the right time. And then I got a notification this week, either on Monday or Tuesday, that a fraction of that money has been used to execute a transaction. In other words, more units of Nestle shares has been bought, has been added to my portfolio. So it even motivated me that, oh, I need to add more money in that wallet so that the next time opportunity comes again, I can increase. So my the stake I own as one of the co-owners of Nestle, I'm using co-owner because we own it, we own it and keep it. So long as it's a good one, management is great, and the company has proven itself over time. We own it and we keep it. It's like a tree, and that tree belongs to me. So for as long as that tree is producing fruit, I keep plucking the fruits to eat without having to gamble, to sell off, to buy again, sell off and all that. So I have that added. So of course, by the time another opportunity comes, I could have more added again to other stocks and stuff that I own. It requires a lot of waiting. You have to wait until, and that's part of what money culture does for me. That's why I'm so settled with money culture because money culture has that gift of identifying, analyzing the market, identifying, the right time and all of those things. I don't have the time, I don't have the grace, I don't have the ability for it. I just trust the judgment of money culture. Everything I have said so far is not up to 5% of what money culture does, of what money culture offers. In fact, these days, anybody who is really serious about investment, they just talk. I don't bother even explaining anything much to them. I just tell them, take this course. If you are serious, you take it. If you say you don't want to take it, you run along. I've come to understand why it is rich people who are always shouting, organizing master classes to teach people how to make money. Wealthy people just go quiet. And the reason is because teaching people this wealthy mindset, it's a very difficult thing. And so when you've gone through that whole process yourself, it has humbled you because that's another thing that it does. It humbles you. You've always thought about making money for yourself. The pride, and the joy that comes with how much money you make, the excitement that comes with it. Accumulating wealth strips you of all of those things because it is not you, it is not your effort, it's not your work, it's your money. Just put your money and your money does the work for you. So it's kind of humbles you, it kind of makes you sober. So that energy and effort to struggle to convince those who just don't want to get it is not there. And that's why it's not as though wealthy people don't want to share their journeys, how they made wealth and all that. But it's so frustrating and overwhelming, for them to actually even teach it. It's something very difficult, something so hard to teach, and that's the reason why I applaud what money culture is doing. And I encourage as many as possible. Money culture is one of the very few, ventures that I can endorse wholeheartedly, because there is nobody that I've ever recommended that comes back, regretting. It's a game changer. In fact, even if you don't want to invest, just take the course. Just take the course. Just take the course. It will change your mind in so many ways, even beyond finance, beyond economics, beyond wealth. your worldview as a whole would actually be altered. It will be reshaped. It will be reforged, for good. And the value that you get surpasses the cost of the training by far. At some point, I had to also sponsor all of my employees at the time to also take uh, the course. So the waiting game, it requires a whole lot of waiting. It's not get rich quick. It's not get if you're looking for get rich quick, now you've missed it. You are still playing in the realm of making money. It's not get rich quick at all. We're talking about being able to wait for years, and that's part of what that momentary waiting period does for you too, where you have to wait for the funds in your wallet to be executed. Sometimes people are a bit hasty and all that, and they eventually get to learn that, oh, I need to wait. It helps you to be able to prepare, for the longer wait, because you have to wait for years, but after a couple of years, the growth at the initial stages seems slow, but it gets to a point and the growth, just picks up and it begins to happen faster. As we grow older, our energy level drops. The rate and pace at which we go out there to work hard to make money and everything, we gradually begin to lose it as we grow older. What investing the right way does for you is that as you grow older, your investment actually begins to grow more energetic. Your investment actually begins to grow faster, grow bigger. So it balances up for your dropping energy level. So while you may not be able to go out to work as hard as you used to, you actually have something that is solid and good enough to take care of you all the days of your life, that you can also transfer to your children, and your children can transfer it to their own children. It becomes an estate, it becomes an asset base, for your generations to come. It funds, it funds,
It funds.
Okay, so in closing, I think about the last point I'm going to make is that you are not a millionaire.
So in closing, I think about the last point I'm going to make is that you are not a millionaire.
Can you mute yourself?
Can you mute yourself?
Okay, thank you. So you are not a millionaire because you earned a few millions. You are a millionaire because you can sustain the lifestyle of a millionaire. So the summary of it all is accumulating wealth gets you to that point where the yield, the proceeds of your investment should be enough to cover your living expenses perpetually, even if you choose to stop working. In other words, if you stop having income from any other source, your investment alone should be able to generate enough money that can continue to fund your life. And that is what I'm currently working towards. I'm not there yet. I still have a long way to go, but I've come to understand that first thing has to do with winning it in your mind and then laying the foundation, which I have achieved. So what I have to do right now is to grow it as quickly as I can. So please, I encourage us, if you're listening, if you're watching from anywhere, I encourage you, please. I don't know how Kella is going to make that possible. If there's a link, I think there's a link, but I don't know how the link can be shared with those who are viewing. I don't know if there's a comment box because I'm inside of the studio room. Okay, so but I believe the link is going to.
Yeah, the link is in the description box. I know they're watching on YouTube. Most everyone here is watching on YouTube. So if you want the link to the course that Maple has been referencing, just go to the description box there on YouTube and you can see it. But subsequently, I'll still post it when I can grab it, I'll post it in the comment section as well. But please go to the description box and The link is already posted there. But Maple, you have dropped, will I say, gems upon gems upon gems, nuggets upon nuggets. And you see, the thing is, it's a continuous process, like you said. You keep learning at every point. You said so many things that is as if I've never heard them before. Although I've also taken the course myself. Where do I want to start from? Is it when you said that the process of accumulating wealth humbles you? I don't think that there's anything that is further from the true, further that is really true, like this statement you have made. It really does humble you because as young people, we're just so we have a lot of dreams. We want to hammer. But when you understand what wealth is and how different it is from riches, which you've already covered in your presentation, then you would just start humility just comes on you really, and that noise you used to make, suddenly you just become quiet. And that's why truly I think wealthy people don't really make so much noise. You are so right with that. Someone will take questions in the comment box. If you have any questions, please drop them. I can see a question from David, but we'll get there in a minute. Before I get to David's questions, let me just bring something to your notice. Maple, you're a young person. Most of the people on this call are young people, I suppose. I want to assume. When they're young, I mean, they're not up to 60, right? So, but there's a disturbing statistics that has come from the Nigerian Stock Exchange that young people are not participating in this co-ownership that you mentioned. Young people are not participating, and obviously, it seems like a thing that people see the stock market as a place that is for old people, and like those stockbrokers try to make feel like it's just a place for the big boys, maybe people who have made it and all of that. So what can you say to people who have that mindset, seeing as you were able to overcome that? What can you say to young people, because we know a lot of young people are making a lot these days with the advancement of technology, the digital economy? People are making a lot, but it will be a sad story if they are balling today, but they cannot ball tomorrow. Like you said, be a millionaire today, but you cannot fund that lifestyle perpetually. What can you say to people, young people like that?
Yes, what I would say is that I've also been tempted over and over again. I'll be a liar to say that I've not been tempted. Tempted by the allure, of the get rich quick schemes. When it seems as though you have options that would give you money faster. You're wondering why you want to go into something that's going to take you almost like forever for you to make money. And within this period of time, when I mean this period of time, I mean within this current generation of young people, we've seen a proliferation of, get rich quick schemes more than we've ever known before. It's been there in the past in different forms, but having them in their numbers back to back, has not happened in this manner before. So it is difficult for you to look away from all of these. I know a lot of people who personally have had to lose lots of money, serious money in all of these things. Yeah, because these basics, are not understood. But that allure draws us away. So we are hoping that this education thing, and that's what I'm saying to young people, that just take this course, go through this training program. It helps you to ask a lot of questions. It shifts your paradigm. It helps you to be able to have a broader perspective, and then you can now decide for yourself what approach you want to use, in your quest to become wealthy. But it is true that the stock market actually has more of old people. There's something I did not say, and that was the fact that I noticed that I have some classmates who had parents that were not going to work. They were at home, but they sponsor their children all the way to universities abroad. And I always wondered, how are they able to make this kind of money when they don't even go to work? I started connecting the dots when I started watching news highlights of annual general meetings of companies. There's one mama that I usually see. Then they used to show highlights of it on the television, but for a while now they don't do that anymore. And then with COVID now and the new format that they use for all that. But there is this woman I usually see. She's one of the owners of Nestle. She owns major shares. Elderly woman who doesn't speak English. She speaks Yoruba and they have to, what's the word again? Translate whatever she says to English. But she's a wealthy woman. That woman can transfer, it's been some years ago now, what she owns to her children. Her children can transfer it and on it goes. I also know of one, a major shareholder, another woman again in PZ as well, to PZ and Cousins, and all of that. So I encourage young people. The reality of this thing is going to dawn on us as we grow older. Right now, there is still excitement. We have energy, so we feel we'll keep making the money and all that. This is what I usually advise. Have the money that you can flex today, that you can enjoy today. Have the one that you want to experiment with, whatever schemes and investment in business that you want to experiment with. But please also have that one that is like your own retirement plan, because there is nothing much. You can't depend on pension and all those things. It doesn't use anything much. It's pretty much just a saving scheme. You have that portion that you are keeping aside for your old age, so that you don't become a burden to government, to society. You don't become a burden even to your own children, so that you can also still continue to live the good life as your energy level drops. That's pretty much what I have to say. I don't know if that helps. Hello, guys.
Yes. That helps a lot. Truly, indeed, young people are carried away by get quick rich
Hello,
schemes.
Caroline.
Yes, I'm with you. I can hear you. So, quick, just take some questions from the comment box. So, someone said, Samson Rusom said, how long has it been since you completed the course, and how has it impacted you in building wealth since then? Or how have you applied it and benefited from it? Thank you. That's Samson Rusom. Did you get the question?
Yes, I got the question.
Yes, I got the question.
Okay, so let me just add something to his own question, still in line with this question. You mentioned in your story that you started investing before you got to know about money culture. So I want to know, what's the difference? Investing before money culture and then investing after money culture. That's just to add to Samson's question. You can take all that together.
Okay, I'll start with Samson. Since Samson is, would I say, our guest, you are in house. So let me not keep Samson's question waiting. I'll answer that. Well, Samson, I first took this course, I think about some 8 years ago. I can't remember clearly the first time. It was a long time ago. But money culture called me, haunted me. In fact, was on my case to take the course all over again, because the course was updated. And so I had to take again, it was a struggle when you are asked to come and take a course that you've taken before, where you are called to come and take the course again, where you think that you now know a thing. But I went, and it was a totally different ball game altogether. It was another level altogether for me. So yes, and then money culture had to restructure all of those old investments that I had, sold them off, use the money to pretty much just start afresh. And that's one of the things I appreciate about what money culture does. However, in 2018 or 2019, I think 2018, yeah, 2018, yeah. I had to take the course all over again. I pretty much just had to start afresh, discarding all of those previous years and everything. And ever since that I started, I think I mentioned, it said, you asked, how has it been so far and all that. It's been good. I've started receiving, rewards. The rewards are not yet fat the way I would want, but they've also grown from the very tiny thing that it used to be. They've added some flesh. And I'm hopeful that as I do my own work to increase what I own, then of course they'll actually also grow fatter for me. And I'm not looking at anything so huge at anything now. Right now, I'm still in the sowing stage. I'm still sowing so that when the harvest comes, I want bountiful harvest. So I'm still focused on sowing so that when the harvest comes, the harvest will be bountiful. But already, there's already drizzling. It's already drizzling. The heavy downpour has not come yet because it's not time for that yet. And like I mentioned, it has helped me to lay a very solid foundation. Believe me when I say I have a very solid in capital letters foundation when it comes to my investment. Think about it all over again. I have investment in about 12 to 14 of the best performing companies in Nigeria. Think about it again. If you want me to mention some for you, I can mention some for you. Guinness. I'd always dreamed, ever since my granddad's experience, I'd always dreamt of how I could become a co-owner of companies like that. I mean, on my own, I could not have achieved it with my little son. It takes being on a platform like Money Culture for me to be able to own a part of a company like Guinness, for me to be able to own a part of a company like Nigerian breweries, like Nestle, about three of the best performing banks in Nigeria, and a lot of other companies as well too. So my work right now for the next 3 years, is to ensure that I grow the size of what I own in all of these places and hopefully even add some more. So I don't know. I want to believe that helps. Samson, and then Kelly, for your own
And then for your own for your
difference. For your own question, the difference is that when I was doing investment on my own, I was ignorant. I have to own it. I have to chest it, like they say. I was ignorant, so I was doing it randomly. I was just excited about the whole thing, of course, reading all of those things about shares on the newspapers, on the news, and all of those things. So once I hear that, oh, that communications, I bought. When I hear that, oh, Union Bank, I bought. Once I hear, I buy. I did not understand that there was an entire science behind all of these things beyond the pages of the newspaper and all of. In fact, stock market is different from ownership of the economy. What I'm doing is ownership of the economy, owning different companies, a part of different companies in different sectors of the Nigerian economy. Money culture calls it economy ownership, and that's what I'm doing. There are those who do stock market. It's a different ball game altogether. We own stake in companies with solid management, companies that have viability, companies that are likely to still last for many more years. It's a different ballgame altogether. So I was doing it randomly, random effort, ignorance. But doing it with monoculture right now, it is more strategic, it is more purposeful, it is more better calculated. At least with monoculture right now, I'm investing in the right companies at the right price and at the right time.
Investing in the right companies at the right price and at the right time. Thank you so much, Maple. I know that we're running out of time, but I just need to take maybe one more question from a guest, like you call, not in-house people. Efforts, Onobo, you're an in-house person. So I'll take from David. Yes, David said, pertaining to wealth accumulation, what is the difference between delayed gratification and controlled gratification? I know you mentioned something like that.
The difference is that the fact that you want to be wealthy does not mean that you will not enjoy life today. I mean, that's why I was quick to switch from delayed gratification to controlled gratification. So controlled gratification means it's okay to enjoy life, but control it. Control it. You're able to know that, okay, this one I think I'm overshooting, but once a while it's okay to enjoy life, it's okay to indulge, it's okay to give yourself a treat, it's okay to go for that vacation, but you want to be able to keep controlling it. You don't want to, for example, splurge all of your income just to make yourself happy. You don't want to spend millions throwing a party. So you want to be able to take things like budgeting more seriously. Okay, so is this the best option I can go for? Do I have an alternative that can still give me good quality so I can save some money to invest? So yes, you are still living life. You still want to wear good clothes. You still want to live in a good house. You still want a comfortable home for yourself and all of that. But you are controlling it. You don't do all of those things and you end up without a dime. Delayed gratification means you just pause all of those things all together. That's imposing a severe austerity on yourself. In other words, you want to suffer while you want to be wealthy. I was saying, no, don't kill yourself with suffer because you want to be wealthy. Still learn to just, because you even need to have a healthy body, a healthy mind, so still eat good food and all that, but don't spend all of your income and all that doing that. So control it. That's the idea. Enjoy life, but control it, knowing that you still have to be putting money into your investment. Thank you, David.
All right. And let's take the last question before we go. I know that you're rushing, but let's just take this one. There's a question from Luke. Look, I'm going to answer that question, but let's Maple answer this from Chizobam. People have confused me with wealth building and accumulation with different schemes. How can I know what investment to partake in? I think he answered that already. He said he had to go through the course to understand what exactly, but maybe Maple, you want to speak on that. Let me not jump in. But that's the last question we'll be taking.
Okay, yes, that's it's education. It's education. When my wife and I were expecting our first child, of course, I've watched my mother, I've watched my grandmother, my aunt, and all of that raise children. I've watched them do omugo, as we call it, and all of that. But when my wife and I were expecting our own child, even with our both mothers being alive and being available to help us, both of us, every day had to subscribe to newsletters and all that. So every day we receive emails and all of that. We had to keep learning and studying, how to manage different growth stages of the baby from infancy to the toddler stage. We had to give ourselves to education to understand, because getting married and being alone was a different ballgame from another human coming to join us. So for me, the way to understand all of these things is education, because I can't even recommend an investment to you. I can't recommend even my own investment that I do to you without you first getting educated, because it helps you to the beautiful thing about the investment education is that it helps you to make informed decisions anywhere you find yourself tomorrow. Even if somebody comes to you privately that, oh, I have this business idea and I'd like for you to invest, you become an intelligent investor, you become a smart investor, because you learn how to, the things to look out for, the questions to ask. Unlike before, when we are mostly, wired for whatever it is that promises us, money, quick money and all of that. You have a broader perspective, and it also helps you to build your network, because the more you get to understand investing, the more you begin to find yourself among like minds. You can rub minds with, you can have conversations, it helps you to enrich your network further. So my recommendation to you would be, by the way, you also get to appreciate all of those experiences you've had where you lost money to all sorts of schemes and all that. It's all part of education, by the way. It's part of your education. So the money that you lost they were like school fees that you paid. But if you want to start investing right, then I recommend that you take the money culture investment course. I recommend it wholeheartedly without reservation, like I said. I recommend it wholeheartedly. So I think Keller has mentioned where you can find the link. Just take the course. And I have to also warn you, it's not your regular seminar and all of those things that are usually hyped and all that. So it is only for those who truly want to know. If you truly want to be educated, if you want to gain knowledge, and it is for you. But if you are looking for the next big thing, what excites you and all of that, I'm sorry, it is not that type of training program. You have to be ready to engage your mind. If you are looking for something that, oh, in 10 minutes the course is over, by the time the course is getting to 20 minutes, oh, this course is too long, it is not for you, because the process of accumulating wealth it's tedious. It requires you to be committed. It requires you to be focused. It involves routine, and routine is something that we find very boring. An illustration I use for that is, think about the root of a tree. Have you ever admired the root of a tree and say, ah, see this root, it looks so beautiful? Nobody admires the root of a tree. We may admire the trunk, we may admire the leaves and all of that, but the root itself, we don't admire it because we don't even see. But the root is there, growing deeper every day into the ground, and that's what holds the whole of the tree, even if it's a giant tree. That's what this process is like. So if you're somebody who gets easily bored, you don't like routine and all of that, you're going to have a serious struggle. But then that's what this education process does for you. By the time you go through the education process, it prepares your mind. Even though the first that have gone through the course, I've gone through the course about 2 or even 3 times, right? I think actually even more than 2 times, because for other times I try to also facilitate, put the training together. I also sat in to observe the training and all that. But even at that, I'm still, subjecting myself to the process, even till now, In fact, at some point, I had to be conditioned. Money culture gave me a condition that I must put aside a particular amount of money every month for my investment. Reason being that there were times that I could go 6, 7 months, I didn't drop any money. So that's to tell you that even me, even with the cause, I'm still being subjected, to the lifestyle and the process. How much more for somebody who has not even received the education? I'm done, Kella. Hi, Kella, are you still with us?
Stay with us.
Yes, I'm here. I was just trying to navigate the link because to be sure that it's actually in the description box. So yes, it is in the description box. Thank you so much, Maple. Thank you. We've had an amazing conversation with you, but I'd like to, you know, do a preview for those who came in late. I know some people came in late started, and this is going to answer a lot more questions in the comment box as well. So Luke said, is it possible to join money culture investment before taking? So I think I should do another introduction of money culture, the company, and then talk about money culture, the community. Like Maple has really said, money culture, our major pillar is education. Education. If you don't like education, if you don't like knowledge, you cannot be a part of this community. Because the number one step to joining the community is by taking that course. Money Culture is primarily a financial education company, an organization that is primarily all about financial education, personal financial education. We are committed to financial independence through financial literacy. We believe that if you get the proper and right knowledge, financial knowledge, you can gain financial independence. True one, no, not the ones you've been hearing before. People have thrown the words or the phrase financial independence up and down. We have courses that take individuals to better understanding of finance and wealth concepts, just like Maple has said. We have our major course is the Wealth and Investing Exposition, which is the one that Maple has been talking about. And like I said, the link is in the description box. We also have some other courses, mini courses like Understanding Passive Income. We have a few free courses as well. Our other services, we does for you. So I hope that has answered your question. Look, to join the money culture community, you have to take the course first. Why is it important to take the course? I'm sure that some of you don't even understand some things that Maple has been saying. That is what the course is going to do for you. It will help you to understand basic concepts and some wrong impressions that we've had before coming into contact with money culture. It helps us change that wrong mindset. It's like a paradigm shift. So use myself as an example. I've always been interested. Like, I'm somebody who loves knowledge, so I read a lot. I try to understand things. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, all of those books that that, like, when you're looking for knowledge, these are the books you come in contact with. And there are some things that I felt, or I held myself in high esteem, that I know this, I know that. But coming in contact with the course, it helped me to see the difference in certain financial concepts. First of all, for example, I didn't know that there was a difference between riches and wealth. When I came on the course, it made me understand things like that and how you can build wealth perpetually. So I don't want to, start another seminar altogether, but I think that I know that has answered Luke's question. Is there any? Mark Kennedy says, what income range minimal per persons can participate in this course and even be able to start invest for a great long term? So take you back to what Maple said. He said his lessons. The first thing is what? Learn how to gather money, first of all. Add value to society, either through working for an employer or doing a business. So you have to have money to invest. Let's just be honest. You have to have money to invest. But what amount of money? It's not as much as people think. Maple said his grandfather was a security guard in a bank. It still beats my imagination. A security guard in a bank left wealth for his grandchildren, not just his children. Maple enjoyed some of those benefits, if I'm right. He enjoyed some of it, and his grandfather was a security guard in a bank. But because he was able to understand certain things, he invested. So, Mark Kennedy, I hope that answers your question. The cost 155,000 naira if you're paying directly, but if you're buying through seller, it's 157,000. So the link is there. We have installment plans as well, so you can break it down over 3 months. If you're really interested in getting the knowledge, you would commit to getting the course. I think that has answered McKenna. Can you please tell me? Someone says the sound is lost. Can anybody hear me? I hope I've not been speaking to myself.
I can hear you. Sound was lost for a while, but you're back now.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So I think that's about it. If in the comment section, please send your massive thank you to our guest for tonight, Maple Dappa. He's a very busy person, but he took out the time to explain to us his journey to wealth. Maple, thank you so much again. From all of us at Money Culture, we are so grateful that you were able to come on here to share with us. Thank you. If you have more comments, please send messages on the WhatsApp group. Let me find out if our boss has anything to say. I don't know if he's still here. Etiosa Omorege. I don't know if he's still on the call. But I guess he's not on the call anyways. But any more questions, any more comments, let's continue the conversation in the WhatsApp group. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. It's good night from us.